So we're continuing on with drawing 11, only now we're in SketchUp working towards completing the 3D views that we need for objects A and D. And to begin with, we'll just get rid of that using the delete key. And just to check a few things here in SketchUp, I want to make sure that we're in parallel projection. That's very important, and that our face style is X-ray, and we have our toolbars on that you see here: the view, the tools, and the big tools. Well, that's just all we need to know about SketchUp. I'm going to start with A, and I'm going to draw a box that represents the overall dimensions. I'm going to start with the front face and draw a rectangle. So I'm going to use this rectangle tool. I'm going to start it on the origin, and it wants to lay it down on the floor. So I'm going to use my left arrow key, and I'm going to force it up onto that face edge, right? That's the side that I would normally put the face view on, the front view on. And I know from my little ortho drawings that it's 5 comma wide and 3 tall. And this just happens to be really small on here, so I can just zoom in. I'm rolling in my middle mouse button. And it, you know, in SketchUp, wherever you point is where it zooms to. So if I want to zoom over to that corner, I can do that. And you can get rid of your pencil tool by going back to the selector. Now, it's real easy in SketchUp to do the push-pull. So I can get the depth from the ortho view of 4 grids. And I'm just going to do this in grids, right, instead of inches. So we'll do it in grids. And since I started in grids. And so it'll be 4 grids. 3 grids tall, 5 grids across. And now we are going to use our pencil. We're going to cut away things that are empty space. To start with, there's an edge in the there's an edge right here that creates sort of a silhouette. And when we see it in this view, we see we have this sort of cutaway area. So there's empty space. Our outer line is missing because it's cut away right there. So I'm going to try and do that in SketchUp. Let's see if I can do that. Back to SketchUp. And let me pencil. I just need a point to begin with, and so I'm looking and I'm going, well, if I go over here and I go in half a grid, so 0.5, then I'll create that point in SketchUp, and I can come down. So I'm just sort of getting the edge of that shed, and it is 2 tall here. So 2 grids on that face. And that shed is also 1.5 on the W direction. So 1.5 and up to the top. Now, it's not quite the shape of it. That's the place of it. But then I'm still trying to get to be the midpoint. Is it the midpoint? Yeah, it's halfway down from the top to the bottom. And a line that goes like that. So I can draw that in. And that allows me to create, so what I really did was I created that surface right here. And I'm just going to get rid of that little line. As we go along here, we'll need less and less of this. And then that bottom base, let's draw that in. There's a line, goes from here straight across. It's that bottom edge. And that gives me this whole sort of odd corner that I can push-pull away. So I'm going to push-pull that all the way through. There we go. So that's how I get that sort of unique shape there on the corner. And it leaves me this little edge. Now I know that that structure is only 2 deep, and it goes from the back forward 2 grids. So, and this is a total of 4. So I'm going to use push-pull again, and I'm going to push that back 2. So now I have the 3D shape of that shed. And I can see already I have a little line there I can get rid of. Any line that doesn't represent a bend should be removed. So if it's just a random line on a surface, then you need to remove it. So that actually is the, that looks pretty good for the side. Now let's put that circle in the top. We use a different shape tool here in AutoCAD. I can use this. I can use the circle tool. And I need to know kind of where this is. And we know that it's 1 grid on the radius. So just use some reference points. You could use layout lines. If you need to use layout lines, then you use layout lines. And then I use my little arrow there to stop that tool. I had the circle tool on. Now, take the push-pull and push that all the way through. Like, whoa, what happened? Should be right there on the intersection. Usually it will. It must not have a surface there. Oh, do we not have a surface there? Did we not make a surface right there? Okay, SketchUp's funny that way. So if ever now you'll get really dizzy, huh? If ever a surface is missing, just redraw the edges of it. And that allows SketchUp to see it better. The other thing you have to keep in mind is that it has to be planar. Let's see if it'll pull through. You can always do the distance. So we know that it's 3 down, so let's do 3. Now we've got it. There we go. Still think it's missing surface. It's got the surface there. Not hard to tell. So there we got our little cylinder. And that's it for this object, right? It's all done except I'm going to let's put that back here. Let's zoom it in. We're just going to do a screen grab, so nothing too fancy here. But I like to have it balanced on the ratios of the width and the height. So now we just go to File, Export, 2D Graphic. And we're going to put this over in my usual place. And I always give these the insert. It's going to be inserting it. Worksheet 8, Object A. Get a lot of these things going. You got to make sure you got them labeled somewhere you can determine what they are. Otherwise, you'll be opening them to look at them. And that should be done. So then we can just go back over to here. And we're going to insert that on layer 0, because that's what we like to do with inserted objects. And that's object A. We've already centered it. So I'm going to put the graphic over there. So in AutoCAD, we go to, in AutoCAD, let's see, we go to the Insert tab and go to Attach. And we look for our Insert Object A, Worksheet 8 graphic. Open, and we're just going to use all that. I'm going to come in here, and I give it a scale factor of 1. It's too big, and that's normal. I like it. And so now we're going to shrink that down to something that fits a little bit better in our box. And that one fits pretty darn good. Won't even need to center that. So that is one object, and then we'll do the same thing for the other object. We could just erase this. Triple click. It's not working. You triple click your object. Triple click this object. There. It gets everything, and then you can hit the delete key. A little quicker that way, if you know what you're doing. And we'll get started on this one. We might have to run over on the next video for this, but we'll get started. So again, I'm going to use the front view rectangle method and just come into my tools with a rectangle, and starting here, using my arrow key to get it up on the face angle, and then coming across. Now this one is 6 grids, comma 3 tall. So there it is. And we use a push pull. We'll come through our depth, which for this one is 4. And now we have nice little box. Let's get the top drawn. So the top view right here from this center point, it comes in 2 grids, and that's the center part of that fin. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over, it'll be 0.5 to that point, and then I can get that. It will be also be 2. And, you know, sort of just fooling around here. I'm not super proficient in that's it's a half a grid. I'm going to do let me see, it's half a grid, so 0.5. Get that little line, and I go 2. And I'm always messing up with SketchUp because the commands remind me too much of. So there I have that. And then I have these lines that go over here. Line that goes over here. And I can just start getting that shape in there by doing the push pull. Just get rid of that stuff. It'll be a pretty good idea how that's going to look. Now on this surface here, it's pretty easy to go ahead and draw that nose profile. So use the pencil, and we're coming up here, and we're coming up 2 grids, so that will be 2. And then we're coming over 1 grid, so that'll be 1. And then that gives me this way to draw that little shape. Get rid of this line. And again, my strategy here is to set it up for a push-pull. So I might go about this part different than if I was in AutoCAD. And now I have my nose feature. And I think we'll leave that off for this video, and then I'll go ahead and finish the whole thing on the next video.